Maybe you're thinking about refinancing your student loans right now because they're private student loans, or maybe you have federal student loans, or you're thinking about doing it either now or when the interest freeze expires from the pandemic. There's all kinds of questions about refinancing and what company that you should use. That's why in this video, we're going to show you the 9 best student loan refinancing companies that we've come across in 2021 and kind of go into detail about how they handled the pandemic and who should use them and apply with these companies and who might want to not waste time applying. So I'm going to give you this list in alphabetical order, so there's no specific reason why I'm listing the companies in the order that I'm listing. All of these companies are available right over here on studentloanplanner.com/refi. We've actually got the largest cash bonuses anywhere on the internet for people applying to refinance their student loans. So let's dig into what companies are out there and which ones really offer the best deals. So very first, let's talk about Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank is a big traditional bank, and they're actually available on one of the companies that I mentioned later in this video to apply to. So Citizens Bank, who should use them? People in a moderate, like 5-figure income level. That's who Citizens Bank does best with. People that have got a good credit score, maybe that are not in any specific healthcare profession. Citizens Bank often is able to give those people pretty good rates. I would say in the 10, 15, 20-year options, they're pretty strong as well. And the issue with Citizens Bank, I guess, is that they don't necessarily give the best rates for people with the highest incomes, at least in my experience, seeing thousands of people refinance through Student Loan Planner through the years. During the pandemic, they are a traditional bank, so they might have offered a little fewer options than some of the other companies in this list for things like forbearance and stuff like that. Number 2 in our best refinance companies of 2021 list is Common Bond. So Common Bond is a company with a social mission. They actually will donate money to educational nonprofits every time they fund a student loan refinancing, which is pretty cool. The one thing that we have to say in favor of Common Bond is they actually do one of the best jobs of any company on this list with high-income borrowers. However, for low-income borrowers, historically at least, their rates have not been very good. So if you have a very high income, applying with Common Bond will probably result in you getting some of the best deals anywhere. However, if you've got a pretty low income, you might not be so lucky. In terms of the pandemic, they also like to try things that are kind of unique and pretty cool. Like they've also really worked hard on having good forbearance protections during the pandemic, and their interest rates have been really quite low, a lot better really than they've been compared to other competitors in the past. So definitely a good company to check out, especially if you like socially responsible companies. Number 3 on the list is Credible. Credible is a platform, not actually a lender. So Credible actually has multiple companies, some of which I'm mentioning in this list, on their platform, and by applying to them, you actually check multiple rates all at once. So Citizens Bank, SoFi, and Elphi are 3 of the 9 companies I'm mentioning in this video. They're actually available on Credible's platform. Now you might say, well, why would I apply to a Credible and not these other companies? Well, Credible is a easy place to check rates. It's got a great interface, very highly rated among our users in our community, just because the user interface, like I said, is very easy to use, it's easy to understand, it's easy to get pre-qualified rates quickly. Now, some of these companies don't necessarily always give all of their rate discounts and deals on Credible's website, which is why I still think it's a good idea to apply to their website directly too if you want to make sure you're getting the best rates. Now, Credible doesn't have the majority of the student loan refinancing market present on their platform, it just has some. So people who like the idea of applying one place and getting multiple offers, Credible might be a good place to check for you. Number 4 on our list is Earnest. Earnest is one of the fastest growing companies in the student loan refinancing market, and they're one of the top 3 players in the student loan refinancing market. They have been doing a great job offering good rates to everyone across the spectrum versus just focusing mostly on high-income borrowers like some other companies. So if you have a modest income or a high income, you have a very good chance of getting at least a good deal from Earnest. The weakness of Earnest is that sometimes their rates got not that great during the pandemic when it was a little bit difficult for them to finance through their capital when the worst of it in March, April, and May of 2020. One thing to just address, Earnest is owned by Navient. Now, when people hear the word Navient, a lot of people have a very negative reaction, understandably so, because of a lot of the people's experience with student loan servicing. Earnest is an independent brand of Navient, and it's really a brand that's targeted towards much higher income people than the broad student loan servicing product from Navient, where the government pays a fixed fee to provide servicing to people, which is, why a lot of people don't like the experience with them. So the interesting thing is actually when Navient bought Earnest a couple years ago, Earnest actually got a lot better because Navient has a lot more money than Earnest did as a startup. So Navient threw a lot of its capital behind giving better rates to Earnest customers. And so we've really seen Earnest compete heavily with SoFi for a title of biggest student loan refinancing company in the past few years. So Earnest has got a lot of really customer-friendly features. They've got the ability to choose your own payment term. They allow you to refinance again with them. If someone finds a better rate elsewhere, you can just keep your loan with them if you prefer not to move it. And also they service their own loans, which is a little bit unique in this space. A lot of people sell off the loans elsewhere. So Earnest is really, I think, a must check for most people. Number 5 on this list is Elphi. Elphi is owned by Southeast Bank. They are a great spot for, I would say, the 100K to 300K student debt size for people with good credit scores, especially in the medical space. I think Elphi has, back in the day when they started lending, they had a little hard time getting people through the application process because the website wasn't the best. They made big improvements in that process. There's going to be fewer protections for people in Elphi just because it's not a slick startup kind of thing. It's owned by a bank, right? So banks tend to offer fewer forbearance protections, and I think we saw that during the pandemic where if somebody needed those protections, Elphi was able to give that to people, but it's not something that you should expect as much from Elphi as, say, a SoFi, Common Bond, Earnest kind of a place. It's got a little bit more of a slick startup type feel. But Elphi's rates have been drastically improving, and they're one of the top companies on this list because of that. Number 6 on this list is Laurel Road. Laurel Road is a company that used to be owned by one bank, and then now they're owned by a new bank, but the low rates have stayed consistent. Laurel Road is known for its aggressive refinancing deals for medical professionals. Anyone in a physician or dental specialty, physician assistants, optometrists really needs to check Laurel Road. I would put them up in the top 3 student loan refinancing companies overall in terms of issuance. And they often give discounts for people in certain professional associations like the American Dental Association and the American Optometrist Association. So really interesting place to check if you're a medical person. I would say their loans are stronger for the 10, 15, and 20-year fixed rates. They can give unbelievably low fixed rates in that part of the market. However, for shorter term rates like 5-year loans, it's not quite as good sometimes compared to some other competitors. So if you're looking for a low 20-year fixed rate and you're in a medical world, Laurel Road's fantastic. Laurel Road actually did a pretty good job during the pandemic keeping their interest rates fairly low even during the crisis period in March, April, and May when everything was shut down and financial markets were sort of panicking, which just shows you why they've had staying power as the second entrant into the student loan refinancing market that stayed one of the top 3 companies, really. Number 7 is LendKey. LendKey is a company that connects you with local banks and credit unions to get a student loan refinancing deal, and they tend to not have the best deals for people in the 6-figure income and 6-figure debt category. I'll say that they do a pretty good job for people that have good credit scores but smaller incomes. That's historically where they've been strongest. Now that might be changing in the future. They might get some additional capacity, additional lenders in their platform, but LendKey is kind of like a Credible in the sense that they connect you with other lenders versus being a lender in and of themselves. Number 8 is a place you've probably heard of before, SoFi. So SoFi is one of the largest student loan refinancing companies. They obviously have a stadium named after them. They have all these different other products besides refinancing, like investing products, and they're starting a bank and all these different things. SoFi had by far and away the biggest market share of all these companies early on, but they have since lost some market share to places like Earnest and Laurel Road and some of these new companies I mentioned that have competed with them more aggressively. I think that SoFi is going to really keep pushing and really trying to protect their market share in the coming years as they go public and want to retain that brand that they've built that's taken them so long to build up. You would probably do well to apply it with SoFi, especially if you have a high income and you're thinking about getting a mortgage, because they have a pretty good mortgage product. And sometimes we've seen situations where somebody that's thinking about getting a mortgage might also get a super low student loan refinancing deal as well on top of the low mortgage rate offer that they get. So SoFi, probably one of the top 3 places to check in this list. I would say SoFi, Laurel Road, and Earnest would be the 3 places that I would at a minimum check, but you probably should check most places on this list, to be quite honest. Last but not least is number 9, Splash Financial. Splash is one of the newest companies in this list. They kind of operate like LendKey and Credible. They're sort of a platform where multiple places might be offering rates through them. They'll get credit union type loans offered to them, and they also have some of the national lenders in their platform as well. That's starting to happen. So Splash is kind of an interesting newer competitor in the marketplace. They are more subject to what their partners are willing to offer in terms of pandemic protections and forbearance protections in general, although they do try to standardize that for everyone that offers rates on their platform. So, if you like, checking places that offers rates at multiple places, you might check Credible, LendKey, and Splash. If you prefer to see if there's special interest rate deals and bigger bonuses offered, and you might want to kind of focus on the places that actually are the lenders, right? So the Laurel Roads, Earnest, and SoFi, you might apply direct there. In terms of where to apply, studentloanplanner.com/refi. We're going to put a link to that in the description below because it's got the biggest cash bonuses anywhere on the internet, $1,000 plus maximum bonuses with each of these lenders. So we're the only website anywhere on the internet that's been able to do that for all of the big student loan refinancing companies. So all 9 of these companies are available at studentloanplanner.com with massive cash bonuses for refinancing, in addition, of course, to the main reason you refinance, which is getting a lower interest rate. Finally, if you want to learn more about refinancing, check out our playlist on student loan refinancing. It's going to give you tons of new ideas and strategies for paying back your student loans through student loan refinancing that you probably haven't even thought about. So those are the top 9 companies, the 9 best companies for student loan refinancing in our opinion. Sound off as to which one you think is best in the comments. Thanks for watching.